So, I guess that the question was, how do I feel about religion, or am I particularly religious? And I'm going to say no, I'm not really religious. And but it's more complicated than that. It's more of, I do not have something that I specifically believe in. I just feel like there's a definite possibility that there's a higher power, and I think that stems from my past experiences. There have been a lot of things, a lot of very bad things that have happened to me, but have eventually led to something greater. And I feel as though everything happens for a reason. And for me, it seems highly unlikely that everything just kind of lined itself up and in a very serendipitous manner just happened so perfectly. So I have a major feeling, a very strong belief that there's something out there that has maybe lined all that up for me. And maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm not. I suppose that I will just have to find some way to find out. And alternately, how I feel about other people being religious, because I'm not really sure how I was supposed to answer that question. I guess it's to each their own, you know? Personally, I think that religion can be a very good thing. There are certain people, well, back in ancient times, religion was something used to explain natural phenomenon, like the Greek gods and the Roman gods and Egyptian gods and things of that nature, which were all used to explain things like monsoons and the seasons, and it was also used as just something to believe in. And nowadays, I feel like it's evolved from not necessarily things to explain natural phenomenon, but things that you just don't really have another explanation for. Like, miracles, I suppose you would call them, because, there are just some things that you cannot explain. And I believe that is where people place their belief in their God or their gods, miracles. And I also, the aspect of religion, the believing in something bigger than yourself, I think that is a very healthy thing for some people, because there are people who find solace in their God, in the belief in a higher power, and the belief that there is someone looking after them. And there are people that take strength in that. And I personally am someone who needs to have a tangible thing. I need tangible proof that there's something out there for me to truly believe it. And I know that some people will tell me, well, you see it everywhere. God is literally everywhere. You see it in the trees and the grass and the pure miracle of life. And for me, that is a definite explanation, but it's faulty in that it can be explained by science. And we could go back and forth on that all day, and in the end, it comes from who the person is and how you were raised, and sometimes that doesn't even affect it, because I was raised Baptist until I was about 8 when my parents divorced, and my parents didn't really keep up with that whole church thing after that. And, it also just kind of depends on the person, because no matter how you're raised, I think that you are still initially going to have your own opinions on things, because there are people whose parents are complete homophobic bigots and end up getting in humongous fights with their parents because they believe in gay rights and marriage equality and things of that nature. I myself have gotten in a couple of those fights with my grandparents. And so I guess really I kind of cut off track with that, but I suppose I don't have a negative or a positive stance on religion. I guess it's more neutral in that it definitely depends on who you are, because there are people, like, I have a friend who, when times are tough and he feels like he can't go on, he finds solace in God, and he believes in miracles, and he truthfully believes that God will help him. And then there are people like me who believe that there's something out there, and, this really doesn't have a point anymore, other than I really don't know what I believe. And really, do you know what you believe? I don't know. I'd like you to tell me, though.